Today, Honda announced an updated version of their super popular dual sport bikes, the CRF300L and CRF300 Rally. There's more capacity and power, a new lighter chassis, and a number of tweaks to the riding position for what is now called the CRF300L and 300 Rally. So in today's video, we'll go over all of the changes and find out what's new for the next model year. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to see all of the latest new bikes for 2021, then please do remember to hit subscribe. Let's start with the headline change, which is the increase in capacity to 286cc, up 36 from the 250cc's of the previous generation. Honda achieved this by lengthening the stroke from 55mm to 63, whilst maintaining the same 76mm bore and 10.7:1 compression ratio. The result is a decent bump in power and torque, with 27 horsepower produced at 8,500 RPM and 26.6 Nm of peak torque produced at 6,500. That's up by about 3 horsepower and 4 Nm on the previous generation, and Honda say that the engine is considerably stronger across the rev range from 2,000 RPM and up. Some of the contributing factors include revised intake cam timing, a redesigned air filter exhaust system and ignition timing. An iridium spark plug and precise fuel metering are said to be responsible for enhanced combustion efficiency, which help to ensure that Euro 5 emissions regulations are met. On top of this, they've shortened the first 5 gears to give it a more punchy feel under acceleration, whilst the 6th gear has actually been made taller, which enables it to cruise slightly more comfortably, whilst also increasing top speed from 129 km/h to 135. Lastly, on the engine front, a slip assist clutch has been added, which pulls the clutch pack together under load, which means that lighter springs can be used, leading to a 20% reduction in force required at the lever. The slipper also eliminates rear wheel lockup from aggressive downshifts. Not only do both bikes get a boost in power, but Honda have also managed to shed some weight for 2021. The frame, swing arm and bottom yoke have all been reworked and are some of the most significant contributors to a 4kg reduction in wet weight, now tipping the scales at 153 kilograms. Combined with that 10% increase in peak power, overall power to weight ratio is up by 13% on the previous iteration. In addition, Honda have narrowed the main down tube by 30mm, decreased the diameter of the lower down tubes, and also reduced the width of the central bracing tube by 20mm to reduce the overall lateral rigidity of the chassis by 25%. They say that this was done in order to promote handling feel and connection with front and rear traction. The swing arm has also been made narrower, reducing rigidity by 23%. All of those changes are common to the two models, as well as a redesigned LCD display with less weight and larger readouts, but there are tweaks to the ergonomics which are specific to each bike. The CRF300L is the more off-road focused of the two and gets more suspension travel than its previous 250 version, with 10mm more in the fork and 20mm more at the rear. Ground clearance has also been increased by 30mm to 285 owing to revisions in the lower frame, engine cases and oil draining plug. With all that extra travel and clearance, you might expect quite a bump in seat height, but it's actually just 5mm taller at 880. Other changes to the riding position include pulling the bars back for easier control and lower further back foot pegs, which help to make gear changes easier in big off-road style boots. The fuel tank remains at 7.8 litres, but it's lighter and slimmer, and combined with a slimmer seat at the front allows the rider to move further forward. All of this is wrapped up in new bodywork and graphics, which are inspired by the racing variants in the CRF lineup. The more distance-focused CRF300 Rally gets the same 10mm increase in fork travel, but rear-wheel travel remains unchanged at 260mm. Ground clearance is also up, but 10mm less than the L at 275. Comfort has been increased with the same changes to the bars and pegs, but also widening the rubber-mounted seat by 20mm at the rear, and the addition of rubber inserts into the foot pegs to help reduce vibrations, which will definitely help with the longer stints that this bike is intended for. Seat height used to be pretty lofty at 895mm, so a 10mm reduction for 2021 will be welcome news for a lot of riders, albeit still pretty tall. The Rally also gets some bodywork tweaks, but one of the biggest improvements is a decent increase in fuel capacity, now at 12.8 litres, which is 2.7 more than the last version. Honda claimed that with 32.3 kilometers per litre achievable whilst cruising, the CRF300 Rally should be good for 410 kilometers of range, or 254 miles. The L model will come in at just under $5,000, whilst the Rally is expected to cost just over $6,000. Both look like cracking bikes that would make great little all-purpose rides for most of us with average abilities off-road, and the improved comfort and suppleness will definitely help with soaking up the miles on tarmac. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below, and which would be your pick for a bit of on and off-road fun. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.